online haircut. Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Avenues Podcast. Today, you have me again, and today's guest is Justin.
Yes.
I'm joking, but yeah, we're gonna have a good episode, chill episode today. Colin is not here today with us, obviously.
So we're going to have a couple topics today, like some stocks, book recommendations, and then we'll probably finish off with Copper Drop.
Yeah.
So let's just get right into it. So I kind of want to start with my stocks. I talked about it before a little bit, and I know Cheyenne is interested in that stuff as well. So recently, the stock that I bought at the beginning of the year in January was a stock called Snowline Gold. And basically this stock it's a gold company, and they stake out claims of land, and basically they have drill sites, and they extract gold. So I've had this stock for probably around 6 months right now, and I've just hit the point where I've doubled my money. So it's really good. It's been really slow the last couple months, and then it just kind of took off like right away. So one of the main reasons that it just shot up really quickly was because it was on the TSX, which is the Toronto Stock Exchange. And because it was on that exchange, a lot of investors saw it and started putting money into it, as well as the overall whole results have been really good. So they've they claimed a bunch of land, and obviously when they do that and they get really good results, people want to buy into the company because they're doing well. So yeah, I've doubled my money. It's sitting around $5.80. I bought it in around $2.90. So yeah, that's looking really good. I think it's got big room for improvement. I honestly believe that it can go up to $10 eventually.
Yeah.
So in a couple years, I hope that I can go in there and triple my money. But yeah, the performance has been pretty good so far, and I really want to, in the next year or so, I kind of want to diversify. I want to get into some different stuff. I think gold and commodities right now is a really good call, especially in inflation and all this times of turmoil. And so I think that when you put your money into stocks, stuff like gold, they keep their value and retain their value even in inflation. So I think that's a pretty good and safe bet to put your money. The other one I'm in right now is actually another mining stock, Muju Mining. It's like this Chinese mining company, and it's sort of the same idea as Snowline. However, they're at 5 cents, and they haven't really done much, but they also haven't been marketing that and haven't been pushing it as much. So this is more of a long-term hold for me right now. I think if I hold on to it for about a year or two, I can probably double my money if it stays consistent and keeps growing. But I think honestly, in terms of where I want to go with my portfolio next, I probably want to get into some energy stocks and maybe get into some bigger blue chip stocks and just sort of park my money and just sort of ride it out for the long term.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of investments, that's sort of what I'm looking at right now.
I've been interested in stocks, but been busy searching for other ways, and I have a list on what I'm going to. Stocks are something that I'm still not too ready yet with my money, considering my situation. But it's a good topic, and I've been getting advice on getting into it from this age because it's a good way of investment, and if you get lucky, you get lucky, right?
Yeah. One of the things that I was kind of having trouble with is when should I pull my money, because I'm kind of sitting on two stocks that one is just not really performing right now, and it's more of a long-term hold, which I know I just gotta hold that, right? But Snowline, I have to I need to get my money back eventually, right? And I'm trying to buy a car, right? And that's one of the main things that I'm saving my money for. But the thing is, it's when do I pull my money out? Some people pull out all their money way too soon, and they miss the big jump, and then other people just ride it out way too long. They end up losing all their money. The stock comes down, and they're left with nothing really. So it's a tough topic, and I think there's not really a right answer when to pull your money out. I think it's more of a choice of what's best for you. For me, I think in the next my birthday's in November. I should get my car around the next year, so like December, January-ish. So I want to pull out hopefully around the $6 mark. It's been fluctuating a lot, which is why it's hard to time, because one day the beginning of the market open, it could be like $6, drops down to like 5.30. So the thing is with smaller stocks and like penny stocks is super volatile, but in the same time that works for you quite well, because if you don't have a lot of money, you can double your money really quick, and your risk, like you can put your risk tolerance in a lot higher, right? Because it's not gonna like financially hurt you. You're not gonna have to be like penny pinching, and you're only a teen,
Yeah.
so like we got our basic needs covered, and we don't really need our money, right? Like we're not super
Yeah.
dependent on it. So, um, yeah, in terms of that, that's kind of my plan for the next couple months.
Considering how stock market for the most part it's more of a luck, playing luck.
Mhm.
Unless you're like a professional or you have like, there's other ways that
Yeah.
we aren't in it yet. What do you think about gambling in the same sense, like going to like get having like $5 of your like paycheck each month, going into the casino being like, okay, I have $5 today, let's see how much I can make, because if at the end of the day if you lose it you only lost $5. If you don't, you might have like made more money. Like, what
Mhm.
do you think about that? Some people do that and they make good money. It's just their hobby,
Mhm.
right? So like, what are your thoughts about that? Like, would you take on that hobby when you're like legally allowed to go into a casino?
So my thoughts on that is I would rather take that money and invest it elsewhere where I think I can get better returns and just better probability of like getting that money back or even like surpassing that amount. So what I would do, especially even if you're a teenager, you could be this could be if you're older, younger, but the way that I personally do it is I take money from my paycheck every month and I budget just a little bit of that every week, every 2 weeks, whenever I get my paycheck into my savings account,
Yeah.
or I have like a checkings and a savings, right?
Yeah.
And I take about 80%, depending on how big the paycheck is. If it's like, if I'm not making much and I'm taking like 80% and I'm left with like $20, it's not really enough to like go out, buy food and all that. Like I think
Yeah.
generally I have to like have around $50 in my account at all times, sort of. So that's kind of like my bare like necessities, I guess.
Yeah.
In terms of my spending, but the other money I like to transfer into that savings account, where then it just keeps building and keeps growing. But the shitty thing is in Canada right now, and especially just like even as a minor, is that the interest rates are super like bad, especially on savings accounts, because there's like some sort of fees and like transactional um, fees and taxes and stuff. The interest rates are super shit, so you actually don't end up making that much money. And I'm getting like 2 cents every like couple months. The savings accounts are not the best place to park your money. And with that money, once you've like built up enough equity and you got enough money in the account, then that's when you start investing in stocks and you put that money towards something. Because I feel generally, if you're gambling, the odds of you winning and getting that money back could be like quite
Yeah.
low.
You can be smart with it. Like I said, like if you're like making 6 grand a month,
Mhm.
you're putting $100 into it to just be a hobby. Like you could put that 100 like virtually for anything.
Yeah.
Your hobby, like could be any of your. It could be golfing, could be playing hockey,
Yeah.
could be playing tennis, whatever. And you're just putting $100 in. It's just for your hobby. Now I understand that gambling in a casino is highly addictive,
Mhm.
but some people have control.
I think you have to like draw the line between like what's a financial move and what is
Yeah.
for your own personal hobbies.
Yeah.
For me personally, like obviously I'm underage, so I can't gamble like legally, that is. But I don't
Legally.
see myself going into that stuff just because I think it's just not the best place to put my money. Plus, I'm not passionate about it. It's not my hobby, and I just think that there's better uses for my money. But yeah, like I do agree. Like you should be able to like give yourself some leeway into like spending your money with what you want to do with it, right? Like, Colin is. I know he spent like years saving up for the camera, so that we could film the podcast and stuff, and like actually have like good production quality.
Yeah.
For other people, yeah, like you said, it may be golfing, maybe like buying a new putter or go buying some new balls, like whatever it may be. I think that is also a wise decision. You can't just like keep all your money away, and I think you do have to spend it smartly though. And I think
Yeah.
budgeting is a really good way to do that.
I'm not thinking about gambling. I just brought it
Yeah.
up because I thought about like luck and
Mhm.
payout. It's like that's also a route.
Similar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a similar route you could take. So, yeah. Anything? Any other topics towards your plan towards the future? grade 12 coming up actually.
Yeah,
Big milestone for us personally. I mean, we have some viewers that are older.
yeah, for sure.
Leave us like, yeah, your comment on how you were feeling before you stepped in the school as a senior, because we have that going for us within the next week or two. And personally, I'm kind of scared, if I'm being honest. I'm kind of
Hmm.
like, fuck, man. Like, last year went by so fast. This year is gonna probably go even faster. Then this, like, the next summer, I'm like, it's not gonna be the same. It's like you're not waiting for to go back to school. You're going into an entirely new environment. How do you feel about that?
Like I'm with you. I think I'm excited and also nervous because I think this year, I think I kind of did. I put in the work, grade 11, with the marks that I'm gonna apply with. But then again, I can't drop the ball now. Like I have to keep going and make sure I get those good marks and secure those spots and wherever I want to apply to. But it is scary because next year it's like we're done high school. Some people are going into career fields already and starting to work right after high school. So I think it is quite scary because yeah, it's just fear of the unknown, right? We really don't know what path we're gonna take, and I think a lot of people aren't quite decided on what they want to do.
Yeah.
And so it's scary in that sense, but it's also exciting because we're a senior, right? We're the oldest people in the school. We have all these events coming up. We get to graduate, get our diplomas and stuff. So I think it's gonna be good. I think I'm excited, but it is definitely scary that yeah, we have applications and stuff too. Like, what if we don't get into the schools that we want to? And like, it could just like, it's kind of um, I don't know, it's super impactful. That's what you're doing for the next 4 or 5 years, depending on what degree you get and what field you go into. So,
Like you said, that choice that you're gonna be spending the next 4 or 5 years, like,
hmm
living, is coming up within less than 90 days.
yeah,
Less than
exactly.
90 days. That's crazy.
It's not like the last time you get to have fun. Like, obviously, you'll still have fun. You'll
Yeah.
still be with your friends, and like, even throughout university, you'll still have those connections. It's not like you're just gonna lose all your friends, but it is something to think about. That it's not gonna be the same experience every single day. You're not gonna see all your friends every single day, for hours at a time, right? And I think that's one of the main differences of university, I would say, because my sister, when she went away, she has friends like who go to UVic and like even like out of the country. So it is definitely hard, especially not being able to see the people that you've seen every single day for the past 4 years. So I think that's another big difference that people I think underlook.
I'm terrified that I'm just not gonna have a good experience, but I know it's gonna be a new one. It's
A
like,
100%, yeah.
so. How do you guys feel? And if you're in our spot, I know a lot of you guys are the same age as us. Speaking of the future, what are your plans, more specifically, into being a better Justin from grade 11? What are your plans going into grade 12?
Yeah, I think for right now, I don't have any like specific plans. I think one thing that I have been pretty good at in the last year is just like sticking to what I have been doing with the podcast. We were talking about the rebrand. We did it this summer. I mean, there's always stuff to improve on here with whether that be the audio quality, the lighting, the sound, production, all this stuff. Um, Sort of on that, like this kind of announcement for our viewers, in the next 2 weeks, we'll stop recording in the studio because me and Colin are quite busy. So Colin's got football every day, Monday to Friday for like a couple weeks into September. And if we kept our same schedule that we have right now, which is every Thursday, it just wouldn't work out just
Yeah.
because I have soccer, he's got football, we have both have school, and then also we have to edit and do thumbnails and publish the video. So
Yeah.
for right now, looking in the next couple of weeks, we have to go back into the garage. But I don't really see it as a step back, although there is some minor adjustments and tweaks that have to be made. This is just another chapter for Avenues. I mean, we're building this brand and we're just trying to keep improving every time. So I think looking forward in the next couple of weeks, we want to sort of design this like
Yeah.
studio and make it more homey. I think
True.
one of the things that lacks in this studio right now is that it's so like bare bones and there's no like personality
So
to it.
plain.
We can't really, yeah, we can't put things on the walls. There's nothing behind us, and it's just like
Yeah.
it is professional. But I think for us, we want to have something that represents us more.
Yeah.
So I think in the garage we can, put like a rug down. We can like switch our chairs out, and design the set a little better. So I think
Yeah.
that's something in terms of like short term like goals and plans that I have. But in terms of long term in grade 12, what I'm gonna do to better myself, I think just consistency and discipline is like one of the main things. Um, I feel like this year I've improved a lot, especially with like going to the gym, staying consistent, having a plan,
Yeah.
as well as just like improving. However, I don't think it's always beneficial to have like a super direct plan. I think it is helpful to get you started, but I think once you get going, you just have to find new ways to like innovate and get better. Um, but I think just staying consistent is like very important because everyone has like spurts of energy,
Yeah.
and they want to do this for a certain amount of time, and then they burn out completely, right?
That's true.
So I think consistency is really big because if you have that, you can start building upon it, right?
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, one of the examples I like to use is the podcast. I mean, we started off online in grade 8, and we've been doing it for like we're going to grade 12 now. We're gonna finish high school, so yeah, it's been like 4 years now, which is weird to think about. Um, but I think just consistency is really big. You keep building upon it, and then you just keep improving. So I think the podcast is kind of a testament to that. Just
Yeah.
always striving for something better, and not being like content with where you're at. I think being satisfied is kind of a dangerous mindset because you don't have the drive to improve.
Yeah.
I think like even from like this is kind of like even like hate comments, and it's almost like fuel. Like it's like like all hate, in my opinion, there's some sort of like truth to it
Yeah.
towards it. So it's like, okay, we're getting all these hate comments, whatever. Like, what are we gonna do to improve, right?
Yeah.
And at one point, like, I
Like
mean, you brush it
constructive
off.
criticism is what also is a part of those comments, and
Yeah.
we reflect on it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like just being open is a really big thing as well. Like I think a lot of people are closed minded. Okay, I have my own ways, this is my own routine.
Yeah.
This is how I'm gonna do it. But a lot of people aren't like open to like new experiences, and I think that's another really big thing, especially going to university like in a month, like next year. This will be the same time next year we'll be starting a new chapter,
Yeah.
right? So I think just being open minded is really important, and being able to like adapt to a new situation, I think.
Yeah. But I feel like personally, if I like Justin said, consistency is very important, and I feel like consistency that you got to build on your own is very hard to just do it out of nowhere, out of your own will. You got to be like very strong to
Mhm.
pull that off. Me personally, my set of consistency, like when I started going to the gym, when I started studying, the type of consistency that I had to build on my own, if I'm being honest, came from another strand of something that I was forced to be committed with other people, that
Mhm.
I was forced to do. For example, there was school, there was the podcast midway. I actually kind of started like working out like around the time I started the podcast. When you have two things that you gotta do at all times, you're so easier to like put things in the middle between afterwards.
Yeah.
Because imagine there's a house and there's no pillars, like it will fall down because
Yeah.
it's not balanced. But if there's 2 3 pillars that are like holding everything together, you're able to put shit in the house. If today I'm not gonna go to the gym, or I'm not able to, I have other things that will keep me occupied, that will get my consistency going. I will not lose that line. I will not lose that pillar that I'm
Yeah.
like envisioning. That's why so many people are successful, because they make commitments, and they still to things that they can stay consistent of.
Yeah.
And you gotta find what works for you. Some people need something bigger. Some people need help doing it. You gotta find something that keeps you motivated, not in the sense of committing to the specific thing, into being aligned with what you're doing in your life.
Mhm.
You gotta know that whatever happens, you still have that thread that goes on in the safe line of your life. And
Yeah.
I feel like school does that for me, because I know I have been pretty messy in the summer when I didn't have something consistent that I was committed to, that I didn't specifically choose. You gotta be obligated. You gotta find an obligation as a pillar to your life
Mhm.
to keep everything aligned for you. That's what I believe, because
Yeah.
that's what works for me.
I think for me, the one thing that I've been working on is like discipline, And like even if I don't want to do something, I'm disciplined and I sort of have to follow through with it.
Yeah.
There's so many times where I don't want to go to the gym. I'm tired, I've been super busy, I'm kind of burnt out, and like it's just in the back of my mind. It's something that I'm like disciplined to do. I don't want to do it. I might not feel like it. It may not be the best workout, but as long as I get in the gym and I'm doing something, right? I think like that's sort of the mentality that I take is like if I even do something, even if it's a shit workout, even if my pump's bad or I don't go to failure, I don't get the right contraction or maybe I'm not lifting as much, I'm still in the gym, right?
Yeah.
And that's one more day in the gym, and you just keep building upon that. So I think discipline is really
Yeah.
important over just feeling like it. Like you're not gonna feel motivated to do something every single day.
Yeah, there's no consistency without discipline. Even if
Exactly.
you're like the most motivated, even if you have a gun to your head at all times to do something, if at a certain point you're not disciplined into doing it, your motivation of living runs out.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's such a
Like nihilistic.
unrealistic
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But you get the point. It's
Yeah.
just, it's like whatever, even being motivated to staying alive will at a small point fade away enough for you to go out of track and will die in our scenario. But like the point is that even if you don't feel like it, your discipline has to step in, whatever it is. No
Yeah.
consistency without discipline ever.
Even when you don't want to do something, you lack motivation. It's just you have to show up, right? Like
Yeah.
one of the things, kind of one of the rules I sort of implemented myself. One of the things that I like to do is like I can't miss the gym 2 days in a row, because if
Mhm.
you miss 2 days in a row,
You missed
then
the
maybe
third
you
one.
miss the
Yeah,
third and you miss the
I
fourth.
get that.
It's like that's sort of just that rhythm and like momentum, right?
Yeah.
But if you go once and you keep going, you just start keeping that momentum. I think it's really helpful. I don't know. That's just personally what I like to do. But all right, so now I kind of want to start talking about some of the books I've been recently reading.
Yeah.
The one that I've read sort of this summer, and the one that I've been enjoying a lot is called Outwitting the Devil, and it's written by Napoleon Hill. So have you heard of this before, this book?
Um, sounds familiar.
A little background about this book. So Napoleon Hill was this author from like the 1950s or 30s. I don't know. He's like pretty old. Anyways, he wrote this book called Think and Grow Rich,
Yeah.
which
Oh,
is
yeah.
you've probably heard of that one, which is like his main best-selling book. And basically, this book was Think and Grow Rich. He basically goes around and he interviews like I don't know how many people, like probably like thousands of people, successful bums and like everyone in between. And he basically interviews them like how they got to where they are
Yeah.
and the steps they took. And so that was his best-selling book, and that was like pretty much it. And then he wrote this book called Outwitting the Devil, and basically this book was not released. It wasn't published for years and years and years because they thought it was too dangerous, and they thought he'd get like canceled for it. So basically, this book
in 1950s.
in 50s for this book, yeah. So
Damn,
he
that's gotta be like a fucked book to get canceled in the 50s, bro.
So he withheld publishing this book for years and years and years, and then it got published in 2013 by the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And the reason that is because of some of the subject matter, and basically his wife, who worked I think at some sort of school or some sort of like within the church, um, she disagreed with some of the things in the book, or she didn't disagree with it, but she said if this gets published, I could lose my job and
Mhm.
people would just view me differently, and I do not want to publish this. So her rule is like you can't publish this until after I'm dead.
Uh-huh.
And so they both died, and it ended up going to the next people in line, like his ancestors or whatever. I don't know who, like one of his sons or something, and they didn't even want to publish it because they thought it would do bad on their name as well. So then eventually the Napoleon Hill Foundation gets a hold of this book, and it gets, since it's like really old, like some of like the English and stuff is just like
Yeah.
it's not applicable anymore. So then it gets noted by I don't even know her name. It's like Annie Fletcher. I might just be making some up, but it gets noted by this other author, and finally gets published in 2013. So yeah, it's been out for a couple years now, and basically this book is just how it's set up is it's like Napoleon Hill, which they call Mr. Earthbound, and the Devil, and basically Mr. Earthbound is in this like hypothetical scenario. Some people say it happened, some people say it's all fiction. Basically, Napoleon Hill or Mr. Earthbound is interviewing the devil, and the devil has to respond accurately every single time. And so basically the whole book is about like how the devil like controls people and how he like influences people to like not get to where they're going, not reach their goals, and how he like makes them like unsuccessful pretty much. And so the book goes about like how to combat that, and
Wow.
like he sort of categorizes these people. He calls them drifters. So drifters are people who have no direction in life. They go with the flow. They have no purpose, no dedication, nothing they're working towards. And then the devil basically implants, he gets into their mind pretty much by using all these tactics. So he's got a couple, and they go over the different tactics in the book. And one of the main ones he talks about is fear. So one of the main premises in the book is how he uses fear as a tactic to control people, and he talks about like the fear of poverty, so having no money,
Yeah.
and the fear of being rich, having too much money. And then he talks about like health, the fear of people like not being able to like provide for themselves, or being ill, the fear of death, like lust, and all these different fears. And it's super interesting because he says when you fear something, you basically it captures your mind, right? That's all you
Yeah.
can think about, and you don't live your life freely. And so, yeah, that's one of the main things in the book. It's really interesting. It's a really great read. I recommend it to like anybody out there. But yeah, one of the main things that I took from the book is like trying to find like a purpose and a direction. How big or small that may be. I mean, for right now, I think one
Did
of
you
my
finish reading it?
I'm not even finished it. No,
Oh, okay.
it's still I'm on like the last little bit. I'm pretty close, but
How big is how many pages?
um, I think it's about like 200 to 300 pages. It's not that long, but it is a really good book. I recommend it to all of you. I initially heard it from, Alex Eubank, like the bodybuilder guy,
Oh
got
yeah.
like the long hair. Anyways, I'm a big Alex Eubank fan, and he was talking about it on his like stream or one of his YouTube videos, and he's recommending it to people, and so I'm a big fan of his, so I picked it up, and I've been really enjoying it. But I think one of the main takeaways for me is again just trying to find a purpose and work towards something. Because when you don't, you start drifting. You have no purpose in life, and you just kind of let life like
Yeah.
control you, and you just don't go anywhere. Like I think you have to take control of your life, and like you have to actively do the things to put you to the spot where you want to be.
That's
So
true.
for right now, it could be it can be anything too. It can be like
Yeah.
monetary goals. It can be like your physique, or eating healthy, or whatever it may be. But for me, one of the like the main goals that I want to do is like I want to be able to get a car for senior year. So that's one of my goals right now, and just working towards that, getting money, and like improving myself. So having those goals in mind allows you to like build little steps in
Yeah.
order to like accomplish every single day, and then that
Yeah.
again we talked about getting the momentum, and that you sort of stack upon it. Yeah, it's a really good book. I recommend it to all you
Yeah.
guys. So
So what's the lesson that you think you will keep from that book?
I think for me the main lesson is like having a purpose, and also like the one thing that I've been sort of reflecting on like these past couple of days is like everyone's kind of got their own path, and everyone's got their own journey, and like everyone has their own like ideal life and
Yeah.
like where they want to be, and there's no right or wrong answer. Like one thing that I was just thinking about a lot, me and my family went to Tofino, and my sister's like 3 years older than me, so she's in university now. She goes to art school, and one thing she's been doing a lot this past year is like she's like been very big like outdoors person. She's like super spontaneous, and she built like this bed platform in the back of her car, and she went to Fino. She's been camping there, and she wants to like go live in Tofino for a couple years, like months while she's off of school like in May, and then come back here, and she wants to go travel and do all these things. And she went backpacking in Europe, and um doing all these like traveling and just sort of like experiencing all these different places. Um, and to me, like I see the appeal to that, but I'm quite different because I want to like be able to build a business and be able to work from anywhere and work remote and sort of have like financial freedom and like
Yeah.
location freedom, being able to work anywhere I want. Um, and I think we have like very different paths, but there's no like subjectively right path. Like you know what I mean? Everyone's different,
Yeah.
and I think I'm kind of realizing that like just because I'm super like into something and that's my journey, like it does not mean that has to be the same thing for everyone else.
Yeah.
And I think sort of like realizing that and not like pressuring yourself to follow someone else's path, and also not pressuring them to follow your path, right? Because we're so different, you kind of have to go do your own thing. And then once you know your destination, where you want to go, where you want to be, then you start building up like the little steps. Like, so for me, it's like I go like read, go to the gym, walk my dog, and then just like little habits I have, like the cold showers, like making my bed or something, right?
That's
But
true.
I think that's one of the main overall idea that I got from the book is just trying to like find your purpose. And then the best thing, even a lot of people could be saying like, hey, I don't know what my purpose is right now. Your purpose is to find your purpose.
Yeah.
So whatever that may mean to you, you have to go out and experience things. You got to try new things and find out what it means to you.
I love this message Justin said, finding your own purpose. I'm gonna like share this with you guys. I feel like depending if you're like also from an immigrant family, you might like relate to this. I just feel like personally with from the background and the culture I come from, we are not a really go experience your own purpose, find it, that type, which I honestly feel bad about, and I try to work against it.
Mm-hmm.
But so many people, if you're Persian like me, you might relate because growing up, you usually told like stereotypically you're like told, oh, like be a doctor, be that. In the new generation, I feel like it's so much less
Yeah.
because our parents like they have suffered from the same problem
Mm-hmm.
from their own parents and grandparents, but so many people still do have that issue, and they get their purpose fit into them. So when they grow up and they become unhappy with what they have, it ruins their life, it ruins their marriage, it ruins their relationship with their children, it ruins and bothers them of what they could have become.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's so wrong to feed someone their purpose. And I'm not saying that my parents have done that to me,
Yeah.
but I come from a culture that has happened, and it's not in our background to go experience new things. We're just we have the type of background, just be out there if you want to experience something, but you gotta be successful in a sense that you gotta be disciplined into doing some work
Mm-hmm.
that will give you success even if you don't want it. In our background is not does not come from, oh, do what you love, money will come. We do not have that. We
Yeah.
have that, if you don't want to be a doctor, do something that will give you money, make you successful, make you better than the neighbor's kid,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that. Like
Exactly.
that's what I come from, and I find it very sad.
Mm-hmm.
So I find myself having issue to go on by the saying Justin said, to find your own purpose. That's where your purpose is. And I sometimes see myself subconsciously just working towards a purpose that I didn't necessarily choose for myself. It gives you that feeling that, oh, you choose a purpose, but it was the options were fed into you. You didn't
Yeah.
have more,
Exactly.
It's like, and I feel like some people relate to that,
Mm-hmm.
from my background. For others, like everybody their own way, but try to work against it, try to experience something and find a purpose on your own. Sometimes you go out with your friends and eat a new food. That happened with me and sushi. My culture fucking hates sushi. Like I came here, I don't know what the fuck, I don't know. I was like, well, it's raw fish. We don't eat that. That's nasty. Because that was fed into me. They're like,
Yeah.
my
Exactly.
parents hate sushi. They don't like eating it. Well, I like this. I don't know why I was fed into it that I don't.
Yeah.
And this goes out. This concept has such a wide reach, from sushi to life changing choices. You gotta find your own experience. You don't want to be a drifter, and your parents don't want you to be the drifter of the book,
Yeah.
to have no purpose, live in the life, because everybody knows that's bullshit. We're not hippies, th- so and that is not a bad thing. And your parents aren't like evil people that trying to feed
Yeah.
you a purpose. They just
Exactly.
don't want you to be a drifter,
Yeah.
and that is great. If you have a parent that does that for you, good luck. I mean, you don't even need luck. Like you're
Yeah.
fine. You're
Yeah.
set up. But sometimes their worldview is much more different than yours.
Yeah.
So again, I like the saying I just created: experience your own experiences. Don't be fed what you're supposed to, what path you're supposed to take.
Mm-hmm.
That thread that you're chasing with your life, that's the line of your life, could lead anywhere. Don't expect it to go somewhere else. If you expect it to be the other way that it has gone, you will not feel good with the direction it has took. So I
Yeah,
just feel like that's the way it should be.
100%. And I agree with you a lot. I think I also feel that pressure from my parents, like to follow their sort of path and
Yeah.
what they've done, and go to university and get this sort of job and make this sort of pay and do these sort of things. But I think one of the main themes of the book as well, they talk about a lot, and this is one of the reasons actually why it was canceled, why they could not publish this book, was because they talk about like being a free thinker and thinking for yourself.
Yeah.
And to the most extreme point, he goes against don't listen to your parents because they want you, like they want to funnel you into the same
Yeah.
like small thinking.
Exactly.
Your job, religious leaders, they try to like they give you the fear of the devil, right? Like
Yeah.
in the Catholic faith, there's so much fear of going to hell. And so you
Yeah.
live your life in fear, which is how the like ironically in the book they say that's how the devil takes over because he's like they believe in me as much as they believe in God, right? They keep
Yeah.
me alive by like giving these people fear, and without them, I wouldn't be as powerful as I am today. So
That's true.
he talks about religious leaders even influencing you, and like not being able to think on your own accord is so dangerous because you become a drifter. You just drift around, and then finally you like wake up and like you're gone. Like where did I
Yeah.
go? Where's my mission? Where's my journey?
And
Right? So
necessarily, I don't think this is like a, oh, well, parents or people are evil. Oh, some parents are evil. I'm not gonna like not
mhm.
like do that. Some people have an unfortunate life with
Yeah.
their parents and all that.
Mhm.
That's truly sad. But what I think is, I don't blame people projecting the way they have lived.
Mhm.
There's a normal way and there's an evil way, because have this as an example. You're at the gym, and let's say you're experienced or something. This
Yeah.
happened to me a couple of times, and you see someone that is like, you can see that they're new to the gym, doing this something wrong, or they could do it more efficient. You go to them or something like that, and you explain your own way of doing it that has worked for you,
Mhm.
and that way has worked for you. So
Yeah.
you have you have literal proof that it works. So you
Yeah.
try to project that, be like, well, I can see that this way you're doing. Well, I'm not saying like there's different and might also get it. No, they're like doing it wrong. They're
Yeah.
visibly doing it wrong. And you
Yeah.
tell them, well, the way I do it, you explain to them your own
Mhm.
way that has worked for you.
Yeah.
And I feel like parents do the same thing in a healthy way sometimes. It's not like they know any other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
Exactly.
if you know a better way to do a workout in a gym and you see someone doing it wrong, you don't go to them and tell a worse way that you do it. You tell them the best way you know, the best way you do it.
Mhm.
And I feel like parents do the same thing. If like your parents took away with their life in their business, whatever, that's the best way they know, because you never want to do something in your life that is not the best as you know. You always live your life the best to your abilities and knowledge. Like, that's just
Yeah.
normal, you
Mhm.
know. You never like on purpose do the worst thing for yourself,
Yeah.
obviously.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I feel like that's the same with the parents, or same with the adults that project things. Some of them are unhealthy. Some of them are actual evil. I'm not like giving those guys good credit, but
Yeah.
uh, most of the projecting comes from that, I believe, because of the way I think, and I feel like it's fair, but it doesn't necessarily mean with life. It doesn't mean it's gotta be the same thing. They're giving you advice on the best of their knowledge, and that is great. And so many, like 80% of the time, you can use that, but the
Mhm.
rest of the 20, you gotta figure that out on what is their path and what is yours.
Yeah.
Because the analogy I made comes from a working out, and working out is pretty straightforward of doing it right or wrong.
Yeah.
Uh, but life isn't that way. Life
Yeah.
is a long ass like thread that you can follow. Could go anywhere. Could be in any shape. Could be tangled sometimes. Could be straight as a
Arrow.
whatever.
Yeah.
But that's just how it is. But like, don't, if you see that your parents sometimes give you, I don't know, wrong advice or something like that, like, don't blame them.
Yeah.
It's not like, unless your parents are evil, they're not doing it like on
No like
purpose to,
bad
yeah,
intention, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but have it in mind. This goes with grandparents anywhere. Anybody
Yeah.
who gives you advice, anybody that gives you advice generally is from their experience. Unless they're a fuck person, they're gonna give you the same knowledge that they have, that they live to their best ability. So have that in mind. But again, do
Yeah.
what you do for yourself.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think the people around you, like your parents, your grandparents, the people who try to influence you, want the best for you. And I think sometimes it comes across as like ill-intended, like, oh, they don't want the best for me because I know this is what I want to do, this is my
Yeah.
purpose, and they're trying to force or like bottleneck me into this one specific like route. But I think you have to realize that like from their experiences, this is what's worked for them, this is what they know works, and at the end of the day, they want the best for you. So obviously it will be a little jarring to them to see you take such a different path with like so much more risk involved,
Yeah.
especially when they don't know what you're going through. They don't know where you want to go. They don't
Exactly.
understand like what it takes.
It's
And
the fear of the unknown. You know, you have it, they have it. You know, it's like when they
exactly.
see their beloved kid going into a route that they are not familiar with.
Yeah.
It's the fear of the unknown, and since you're their kid, they fear for you as well. So they might try to like tell you something.
Mhm.
And I I personally have been in that situation many times, considering that I moved here
Yeah.
and basically grew up my entire teenage year here, and my parents haven't. So I
Mhm.
had this issue many times, and I was never like disrespectful. I was like, well, I understand, and you just take the time, explain, and
Yeah.
this whole topic that I like kind of brought up to the whole thing just comes from an immigrant like point of view that I feel like many people would that our viewers would relate to. You might even do it to a certain degree, Justin.
Yeah.
It's like a normal thing to
Mhm.
everybody, and that's how generation with generation works.
Yeah.
So, if you have that, just like be respectful. Just explain. Parents. I feel like most of them are reasonable people. They were us at some point. It
Mhm.
depends
Exactly.
every situation, but do the best of your ability. Because again, it's not their fault. Just take it lightly and you know be polite. I just want to bring something else up about discipline, something interesting that I thought about while you were talking about it. So, um, Batman, right?
Yeah.
You know how Batman never kills Joker in
Yeah.
the actual line,
Mhm.
and I think this is gonna bring up a interesting topic that we could talk about for like 5 minutes ish. Have you seen the like the cartoon Red Hood, Batman, Red Hood?
I no, I have not.
The one that Robin like dies to Joker, but then relives and becomes Red Hood.
I don't know. I don't.
So
Like so.
easily one of the best, if not the best, of the like Batman animation series. Like so much depth, so much. Seeing that as a kid made me conscious, and that was like I didn't even know what I was conscious about when I'm
Yeah.
watching that. So and then now I'm like, that is such a good message, because it shows there's a scene that Red Hood captures Joker
Mhm.
in an apartment, and Batman shows up, and Red Hood is confronting Batman of why uh he wasn't why didn't he kill Joker after all he's done, after the graveyards he has filled coding.
Yeah.
um and even then he was like, I get your moral code and that you don't kill him because of all that he's done trying to get him to justice, but why don't you kill him after he killed me, what he did to me?
Mhm.
He was like, that's where he was pissed off. And Batman gave an answer that sticks with me. He was like, you think I didn't want to? You think every time he does that, you think you don't, that's the easy way. That's
Yeah.
so easy for me to just shoot a bullet, cut his throat, whatever the fuck.
Mhm.
But he was saying that if I go that route, I will never come back from it. And it's interesting. It this reflects, because if he goes on to kill Joker,
Mhm.
he has already crossed that line and had a taste of what it is.
Yeah.
Because Red Hood was like, just kill him. Like, I don't want you to kill Penguin, whatever other heroes. Just kill him, because he has caused the most, problems. Everything that he caused.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what Joker has fucking done. Uh, Everybody knows that, and it shows that that man had so much power that even though it's so easy to just put one step, I mean, he paralyzes people every
Yeah.
day, doesn't kill them. I mean, they want to be dead at that point, but like he's just like, if I take that, if I take it that far, he's like, I will not be able to control myself,
Yeah.
and he knew that, and this goes out to so many smaller steps. I'm not saying kill people, but I'm saying, sometimes um I got this reference when you talked about how if you miss like 2 days in a gym, you will miss the third one. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's true, because if you get a feeling of something going against what you're disciplined to do,
Yeah.
you are so much more likely to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, you have probably experienced it. If you know you have been going to the gym, this week, oh, I went Monday, Tuesday, oh, I couldn't, I gotta go to my grandparents.
Mhm.
And if it goes, and the next day comes, and you're like, well, I had to, it's like, you gotta make the gym time, like, oh, like half an hour earlier. You gotta leave half an
Yeah.
hour, and the time comes that you schedule for yourself to go on that, like, the day after you missed, to go for 30. You're like, nah, fuck it, it's just 30 minutes, nothing's gonna happen, I'll just not
Mhm.
go today because I had to hang out, or I had to study for whatever.
Yeah.
You are so much not likely to go the next day. You're like, well, I already missed the last 2 days, might as well just miss today. I'll start it from Monday again.
Yeah.
I'll go every day. And that's what Batman's talking about. You're like, if I kill Joker, and the next day I'm fighting, I don't know, like Mr. Freeze, and I have him to the neck. I have him like right there to like just pull the trigger,
Mhm.
take that last punch, whatever. I'm like, well, I did it to Joker, I might do this guy, and he dies.
Yeah.
The next day, if he's fighting the other guy, he will just straight up kill him. Like,
Yeah.
he knew that was gonna happen, and he stopped himself. He knew the part. And I feel like everybody should take that lesson to, you know, if you can see yourself going down the wrong path, don't take that one step. Don't take
Mhm.
that one step, because it's a steep hill.
Yeah.
Take that one, you will keep rolling.
Make sure you go check out that Batman animation. What's it
Yeah.
called?
Uh, Batman Red Hood.
Batman Red
Yeah,
Hood.
and make sure to check his book.
Yeah.
Uh,
Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill. That's your homework for our
yeah.
viewers today.
Thank you for watching us, and we'll see you next week with another episode of Avenues Podcast. See you guys.